That's what you do. You buy these clothes that cost money and make a difference in it. But we never do that.
Never complains, gets up, gets on, with a smile on his face.
We just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, same old, same old, every single day, without this. If you haven't seen it before, please watch the first two episodes, the second season.
We are on the site of the castle.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
It does it to me all the time. Little picture like that, and I can't get it on until you see me big. But anyway, good evening, everyone. It's good to be back, and I'm doing this. This is a special one, actually, because normally I don't do them until a Friday night, as you know. This is current affairs, and I thought that we have to do this. This is getting worse, what's going on in the world. It really is. You've got the likes of the Americans who are, I don't know, you've got them. Hang on a minute, you've got these Americans who, I'm going to show you something. You'll see where I'm coming from here. Now, if you look at Iran and the USA, and as it says there, countries attacked by bombing, sabotage, or attempted government overthrow since World War II. And look at the list there of America. And you look at the list of Iran, not one single country of Iran attacked or bombed. Think about that. Just think about it. Think about that. And that's just since 1945, 46, after the Second World War. Then you've got the colour revolutions, haven't you? You've got the coup d'etats to overthrow governments who don't comply to the narrative of America. Now, when you look at Europe, Western Europe in particular, were what you call vassal states. You do as we say, and they go along with it. They go along with it. They have to. So let's have a look at another one. And this is NATO. Now, as you know, NATO is America. NATO is America. Just goes under the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. That's what it goes under. But it's America. Now, let's see where NATO is around the world. And it's all in red. But look at that. You can't make it up. You cannot make it up. And these are bases all around. Look at Africa. Look at Africa. The Caribbean, obviously. South America. Let's see what you've been saying. So just look at it. Just look at that map. And don't forget, they're trying to get into they're in the China Seas. And they're wanting to attack China. And when you get an axis of evil, the axis of evil, as you know, is North Korea. I don't know the last time they invaded Europe or this country. You've got, as I said, Iran. This is the axis of evil. I don't know when the last time, well, they've never, that's been proved down there, attacked anybody. Then you've got Russia. It was the last time Russia attacked. You've got to understand about the Soviet Union. I'll explain that in a moment or two. Okay, the former Soviet Union. You've got to understand it. And then you've got, it's impossible to just say, oh, well, look at the Soviet Union, look what countries they held. But I'll tell you about why they held them in a moment or two. Okay, so let me just get rid of that for a moment. Let's get rid of this. And let's see some comments. But hope you're not calling me for everything. Let's see. Oh, the lovely Myra. Hiya, Myra. Hi, Frank and friends. That lovely friends. That's what we are on this channel. Friends. Frank, I hope you are well and healthy, says Myra. Should have seen me. I was out shopping today with Francis. She came down for me. She said, "Are you ready, Dad?" I said, "Yeah, okay, come on." And we went shopping. And she has to go and get a trolley for me so I can grab it and use it as a Zimmer. People look at me, while Francine's there, she's throwing all the stuff in the trolley. And they must be saying, look at that dope, you know what I mean? But that's, I've got to wait. The unfortunate thing, Myra, I was wanting to go to Sicily, for a break, and you know that I love Italy. And I was looking at Sicily. I've been streaming every, you might as well say resort, where it's where the tourists go. And I really want to visit Palermo. I really want to visit Palermo because it's a fantastic historical city. Anyway, I've been looking, and there's only one place, which is Cefalù, that seems flat. I've got to have a flat place. I can't walk up hills or anything, and just about walk up a few steps. At the moment, this is what I'm waiting for, the final go ahead. Anyway, this is me out. So anyway, I love the Amalfi Coast, Costa Amalfi. I love it. It's a beauty. It's the best, in my opinion. It's the greatest scenic views in the world, really. But I was looking at some hotel, and it's right on the waterfront. I went, that'll do me. because I could just walk across the road and sit on a bench. That's all I want to do. I want to go on excursions because everywhere I go, I always go on excursions to visit other places. One of the greatest places, you know, if you're historical buff, is a place called Pestham, which is only a Amalfi Coast, by the way. And it blew my mind, you know, that I was a lecturer for about the Roman Empire. And I looked at this place, Pestham. Oh, the temples there are the best in the world, preserved, incredible. Blew my mind, amphitheatre, everything. So I went there. So if you're ever going down to Sorrento or anything, try and get an excursion to the wonderful Pestham. So it's called Pestham. Well, try and stream it. You'll see what I mean. Beautiful. The Red Bird. Okay, Frank, let the truth be told. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Red Bird. And you're all saying hello to one another. Here's our brother Johan. Good evening, Frank and legends in the chat. Hope everyone is well. That's lovely, that. So I'll let you all say hello to everyone. The vlogs. Hello, Frank. Hope you're well. I wonder if one time you might do a conspiracy subject on the whole of 9/11 attacks. I was watching some documentaries not long ago. All interesting. Was you watching the one about Mossad? I'll do that. That's no problem. I will do that. The Red Birds. Wars makes money for all the evil ones. I'll be talking about that as well. That does come up. And so you're trolley jolly now. Yeah, I am. I'm a trolley dolly. Do you know? Even Franco Baresi. Do you know what? Actually, Eddie's always called me him, you know, Baresi. Always call me Baresi. I don't say as yet now. I don't know why, like, but it's not my fault. Oh, there ain't no footy show again. Oh, well. The Earth's flat and we never went to the moon. That's a good conspiracy theory, isn't it? I like that. I like that too. Hiya, Frank. Hope you're fit and well, says Marie Morgan. Marie's one of my ex-mature students. I bet she won't let me say it mature, but she was one of my students. Anyway. Lovely lady. Her and a cousin. And her and a cousin, they always sat together. You know, they're very good friends. And I only had to say Marie, and the both of them turned it out because the cousin's name was Marie. That's lovely. The black and white boy. Evening all. Been a bit poorly with vertigo the last few weeks. It's not fun. What are you doing, I hope? You been on planes or something? You been on planes? Or high buildings? Terrible, that vertical. Michael J. Politicians, press and media outlets seem more concerned with words at Glastonbury than the evil deeds done. Dirt cheap in Gaza and the West Bank. So annoying. That's what you call a nail on the head. And Johan says, did they find a carver's tunnels under the stage at Glastonbury? And there's our red bird saying about, to the black and white. It's horrible. Any sort of like claustrophobia or anything. It's horrible. Vertigo. I thought vertigo was right too, but it's to do with crystals in your ear in the wrong place. Tells your brain you are dizzy. That's a new one to me, to be honest, Black. Honestly it is. And Barry L. Okie dokie, Frank. Cards on the table, just tell the truth. Are you desk Lynham? Desk Lynham. Do you know what? Honestly, do you know when I was out shopping today, I bumped into a couple, and they were shopping. And I thought they were Italian because, I bumped into them. And I went, oh, sorry. And, I just went like that and just carried on, and he went, ciao. I said to Francie, they're Italian. Because you don't get many, anyone else say ciao, prego. And anyway, I bumped into them again. Sainsbury's is like the Dodgems, you're going around with your trolley, bumping into people and bumping into. So anyway, I said, are you Italian? They said, no. And they came from Romania. They were Romanian. Nice couple. And I said, do you mind me asking you about this? I said, what about Kale and Georgescu and Simeone? They were, especially the girl, the lady, she said, do you know anything about them? And I went on about, the corruption of Brussels and cancelling elections because those two fellas who were just mentioned just wanted to look after the people, not interested in Ukraine and Zelensky and giving him money and arms, and weapons, whatever it is. And it's shocking. It's shocking to think that people are looking at our own country. I even said to Francie, and she was surprised that there are 5.3 million children below the poverty line. Below the poverty. And I said, these kids, go to school and they're not eating. She said, well, Sophia goes to, I said, yeah, lots of, they just go out without breakfast. So she said, they might be like that. I said, no, because I mentioned about teachers buying little breakfast bars and soft drinks for the kids. I said, Francine, you can tell the kids who haven't got the money, the parents haven't got the money. And I was talking to some lady yesterday while I was sitting outside, and she said, oh, and I went mad actually, because she said, well, you've only got to look at the parents, and they're smoking and they're watching big tellies. And I said, you can't be serious. Please tell me. And she's an ex-teacher or something. And I went, I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that. I said, I know people who are in the profession, still holding, still get in touch now and again, and what they tell me. It's just shocking, you know, what people think. I went mad. She scurried off because she was going out shopping, you see. And it's just like this, what's happening today. The Redbird said, you know, about, the Redbird said about, it's, wars make money, and of course they do. Of course they do. Because who they feed are the military complexes that make the bombs, that make everything. Now you've got Trump. He's just given $500 million of arms to Israel. What do Israel do with those big bombs? Now, you might think that there's a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. They're going to bomb Iran. There's going to be another one. That's why they're sending them all over. That's why Netanyahu says, oh yeah, we'll have a ceasefire. It's to restock. It's to restock the arms in Israel. The Iranians are not stupid. And then you have Trump saying that it must be, I'll have to bring peace. How can you bring peace by bombing? Can anyone tell me that? How can you bring peace by bombing? What did he say? Bombing is strength. No, bombing is death of civilians. There you had a strike yesterday. I don't know whether you heard about it. By Ukraine and Russia. The Donetsk. In the Donbass area of Donetsk, the Donbass area, Donetsk and the Donbass area, I'm sorry. And they said the Ukrainians came right out and said, oh, we were after military installations. Not what I've seen. Civilians. We targeted civilians. That's what I've seen. That's the video footage I've seen. The heart of the city. You see what I mean? You see where these things, and you look at our country, you see what, you see who we're supporting. We actually support this fella, this corrupt man, Zelensky. He's corrupt up here. He's made billions himself. Every time money goes over there, he gets like 10% of it. And how much is being sent from America and Europe, both in dollars and euros, how much has been sent to them over the years? Billions. Billions. Now, whether you've heard or not, I don't know, that at the very first time that they were sending arms over, they were going on the black market. Now they're finding them in Colombia and Mexico. So what's that telling you? It's just making it worse. There's even a terrorist group in Germany, and they've got arms. Think about it. Think about it. So if they can get hold of arms, remember Thatcher when she just went out about the IRA, she wouldn't want to talk to them anymore. She said, "No, I'm not talking to you anymore." Jerry Adams, for example, and she said, they're terrorists. So she labelled them terrorists. Now, right back today, right now, what you've got, and it was going on for years, was the overthrow, a regime change in Syria. They wanted to get rid of Bashar Assad. They've been crying for years because it goes back to the 90s when a General Clark went on television and he showed a piece of paper. He said, "Look at this." And he gave 7 countries, one of them was Somalia, to overthrow the government's regime change. And the rest was the likes of Iraq, Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, and Sudan. These were the main countries to be overthrown. And you know the weapons of mass destruction was debunked, wasn't it? Saddam Hussein didn't have them. And the things that was said about him, it was shocking. John Pilger, remember John Pilger, one of the greatest of all journalists, said this is a load of nonsense. This is before the weapons of mass destruction came about. He said it's a lie, they haven't got them. Even a fella by the name of Scott Ritter, a major in the USA Army, Marines, and he was a weapons inspector, and he went over there along with Hans Blix, and they turned around to their W. Bush and said, there's no weapons of mass destruction. Then you had Colin Powell. You see the name Colin? It's fucking Colin. 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 Yeah, Colin. And he came out at the UN and went like that. This is anthrax. In a little jar. Do you ever remember that? He said, this is anthrax. This is what he's got. He wants to spread it everywhere. And he's got nuclear bombs. Lies, and more lies. And that's exactly what's going on today. I was saying to these 2 people from Romania, and I was mentioning about the corruption in Brussels and the cancelling of elections with 2 fellas that were certain to win. The people wanted these people to be their president. But Brussels went, oh no, we can't have that. No. They arrested a fella named Kalen Georgescu, who was the lead. He couldn't be defeated. Then Brussels can't. This is the democracy. There's preaching to you. What kind of democracy is that? Please. So they cancelled it. So they said you could have it again in May. So the lads went down, the man went down who the people wanted. Then he was arrested. For what? What they did was horrible, to him. This is before he was arrested. When they cancelled his election, they gave him no energy. There was no heating in the house. There was no electricity in the house. There was nothing. He couldn't go on social media or whatever. And they were blaming the Russians, saying it's TikTok, whatever it's called. The Russian influence on TikTok. And Debbie believed it. People believed it. People actually believe things like this. So anyway, he couldn't be president. So what he did next, obviously he knew this other fella, and this other fella called Simeone. He had the same sort of, shall we say, policies as him. Wanted to look after the Romanian people. And his name was Simeone. So they had the first rounds of elections, and Brussels sat back and went, let's see what happens here. So they had the elections, and the fella went from 0 up there. He just couldn't be beaten in the first round. He just could not be beaten. It was impossible for him to be beaten. So they had the second round, and he didn't move. And this other fella was corrupt. Now you've got a colour revolution, as I mentioned about colour revolutions. Now these are the same people hired by the CIA and Brussels. I'm telling you now, Brussels, right? Because these are the same people hired. I always remember the start of in Liberty Square in Kiev, and you had a few people going. I always forget the president's name. Get out! Say his name was Jimmy Rogers. Jimmy Rogers, out! There's only a few of them, like you do. Then all of a sudden, after a couple of weeks, there was thousands. And have I guess what they had in their hands? Guns. And I went like that. I bet America is involved in this. I said it. This is in 2014. I said, I bet you the CIA's behind this. Little did they know that the MI6 was behind it as well. It's shocking. To overthrow. Well, it was a coup d'etat anyway. And they overthrew the president. And they put the puppets in. And this is what you've got today. I'm going to show you something here. Now, bear this in mind. Bear this in mind, please. Right? I'll just say these things. I've got to get onto our TV. I just want to steam Holland. I'll get back to you in a minute. Steve. Hiya, Steve. Hi, Frank. I watched the old episodes of Only Fools and Horses, The Russian Are Coming. This was from the early 80s, and we have the same arguments in 2025. Do you ever remember a film in America, young bit, The Russians Are Coming? Everything's about Russia. Everything. It's part of the axis of evil, you see. This is America telling you they're evil. Now, what I'm going to say now, and just bear with me. I'm going to say MI6. Okay? MI6. That's our intelligence. This is the James Bond thing. I'll show you something now. Now, do you ever remember back in May? Do you ever remember back in May? We had our march past, you know, our VE Day, which we all should be proud of, getting rid of Nazism. As I mentioned about my dad, he was an officer in the SBS, Special Boat Service. He was blowing up submarines or just, you know, crippling them. I hate using that word, but I have to. Trying to blow up battleships and everything. And it's wrong. And it's wrong that the likes of him and many others, David Niven, an actor, he came back from Hollywood and joined the army. And he said, will you make, you know, because he was already an officer before he became an Hollywood actor. And he joined his old regiment. And he was nearly, you know, people don't realise that he was nearly killed on D-Day in the Normandy landings. He was nearly killed. A bullet just missed him. A bit like Trump when he turned his head. That's what he did, turned his head and he suffered from titanitis for weeks on end. The bullet was that close. So I want you to just keep looking at that. And remember what I said. And Dino says, people might scoff, mate, but all the goings on in the Middle East is biblical prophecy being fulfilled in front of our own eyes. Well, the thing is, you see, you've got I was watching something, and there's these Jewish people, these Zionists, and it was funny because they were saying, yeah, we're atheists. We're atheists. We're atheists. Don't believe in God. And someone said, and then he said it out, he said, but God's promised us the land. And he was caught out on it. He says, you're an atheist, though, you don't believe in God. And he went, well, you know, God has, if there is, he's promised us the land. And I think that's what you're saying, Dino. Ali Danus. What do you think, Frank? Our Army Council made a new law for Romanian Army yesterday. From 2026, Romanian Army can go outside the Romania. This is what they wanted for Ukraine, yes. Exactly. And that's why they couldn't allow Georgescu or Simeoni to become president. Ali, I was talking to two of your fellow countrymen today as I was out shopping. Nice people. And they were the same as you, Ali. They were the same as you. Funny that some of the ghouls who pushed the Iraq invasion are doing the same with Iran today. These lizards have the same playbook, only that they are getting exposed now, but nothing is being done, Johan. Nothing's being done. Dino, When the leaders of certain countries no longer follow the established norms, they are often removed from power. This can happen through force, as in the case of Saddam Hussein in Iraq, or by training and arming rebels to overthrow them. I'll stop there. Because who's the president of Syria today? This fella has a $10 million bounty on his head by the Americans, and the Americans have put him in place as a president. He was a terrorist. ISIS. What were they doing? ISIS. What was the things that you seen? Gruesome things. A fella named Giuliani. And it's terrible. They took off his, you know what they wear, those terrorists. Cut his beard nicely, cut his hair, put a suit and a tie on him, and they called him a president. A terrorist. What did it say about Thatcher? She said we don't speak to terrorists. And that was the norm all around the way. We don't speak to terrorists. And they're making them now leaders of countries. And there's Trump today lifting sanctions on Syria. And you know why, don't you? Because remember Israel when they went into Golden Heights a few years ago, and Bashar Assad is saying, get out of my country, you can't be here. And he was telling the Americans the same as well when they were stealing, well, they still are stealing the oil. And no one was taking a blind bit of notice of Bashar Assad. Then they came out with all the propaganda about barrel bombing. And that was shocking, that. It was a load of phony. It's a load of nonsense. Carry on. Arming rebels to overthrow them, as was done with Gaddafi in Libya. Why would the Libyan people turn against a leader who provides a free gas, electricity and healthcare? Not only that, he provided homes for them, because his philosophy was, I was born in a tent. Until every Libyan citizen has a home, a brick home, I will remain in a tent. That's what he lived in. In a tent. And that's what he said. I'll be getting back to that right after this. They didn't. But the media manipulation on public perception through propaganda keeps the masses in a constant state of, yes, fear. Fear. But you know, everyone on here is not falling for it. Not falling for any of it. None of you. And it just shows you, doesn't it, the way some people look at Gaddafi. And he says, oh, he was a bad man. He was a bad man to his people. He got a horrible death. And what does Hillary Clinton say? Do you ever remember that? On television, being interviewed, and said, we came, this is about Gaddafi. We came, we saw, he's dead, and laughed. She laughed. She laughed. So what you've got with the likes of that, with the likes of that, and that picture, with the likes of that picture. That's the Ukrainian army. And what you see on their flag, what you see there is a broken swastika. They're full of Nazis. These are the Azovs. But also, it's like the SS as well. Very cleverly done. And what do the West say? Oh, there's none. There's no SS. There's no SS. And there it is. There they are there, look. And Charles, give it to him. Saluting them. You've got Trump, who's going, Putin's a good man or whatever. He's supplying. America are complicit in this. They started all this. And he's pretending to be a mediator. You can't make it up. It's a fucking Laurel and Hardy film script. It's a Laurel and Hardy film script, this. Oh, there's the IVR. Let's see, I missed out. Just bear with me, boys and girls. Oh, IVR. IBR, evening, Professor Franco. I hope you're feeling good. Take my sugar levels and go. Thanks anyway, IBR. Great to see you, honestly, on here, like the rest of the people. Before my mum's passed away in 1986, she says it's not Russia that starts the next war. It'll be America. There you go. She was only 55. I'm so sorry. But you see, she must have known, not being funny, Barry, but she must have known about that. And all the wars America have started since the last war, since the last World War, that is. Dean says the Ukrainians are murdering their own people, the Azov battalions, etc., and Russia is getting the blame. Zelensky is a homosexual and an actor and dancer. He's a literal puppet, and people believe he's a real leader. But I don't think it's so many of, believe it or not, Ukrainians, because they want this stopped. He won't have elections because he called martial law, but you can still have elections during wartime. FDR Roosevelt did it, didn't he? FDR Roosevelt did it. In the Second World War, that was a Second World War, not just a SMO against Russia. But I'm sorry, but I think Putin has to. They've just taken now Lugansk, one of the oblasts, 100% under Russian control. But with the missile attacks now, what you've got are these missiles that were sent. Now, what you had the other day, you had, I think it was under Mate that he's a horrible He's a warmonger as well. He's like that other dope American, but he's German, mate, isn't he? He's like Lindsey Graham. Just hates Russia, hates Iran, loves Zelensky. So anyway, he sent over his foreign minister to sent him over to Kiev the other day. Every time someone goes to see Zelensky, something happens. Like a day or so later or a week, something happens. And what happened? Those missiles went, and they reckon that the German missiles, and they're studying them now. Who's studying them? Russia. Because Russia warned them. They warned mates. Putin warned them. Anyone, if any missiles belonging to you is sent into the Federation of Russia, or the Russian Federation, you'll be complicit in this conflict. You will be complicit. Okay. So they're going to make 100% sure. They reckon they was like storm shadows, and they're the British. And Starmer was warned about them. Because what it has to have, they have to have a green light off America for them to be fired. And who fires them? It's not the Americans. It's the Germans themselves, because if they're the German, I forget what they're called. The German ones. British ones are Storm Shadow. I forget what the Germans are called. And they're just studying them now. But they have to be fired by the Germans themselves. And that's what Russia said. If they're fucking fired into the Russian Federation, you're complicit in this conflict. So what would Russia do? It's fucking dangerous times. But you're right there about murder and the are blame. It's everything. You've only got to look up Bucha, what happened there. The slaughtering of civilians, and they blamed Russia. Then it was debunked by a fella who went to the UN, a French journalist, and he's under threat by the Ukrainians and everyone else. Do you know that he was a comedian, don't you? And he actually played the piano with his penis, Zelensky. How was he worth billions? He hasn't a clue. He reads a script. IVR. Yeah, he actually changed his voice. I always remember Thatcher. She used to speak like that. Then all of a sudden she started speaking like that. She deepened her voice. And this fella's done exactly the same. Zelensky, he's deepened his voice. I want lots of money. I want lots and lots of money. I want lots of arms to defeat Russia. I dropped something before. I dropped my little top off me boat. I only need 10 people to get to that 1K. That's all I need. 10. Is it 10? Yeah, 10. It's good, that, eh? And maybe I say to Barry, the US is a vassal state a bit. I put on someone's thing, loads of likes actually. It was one of these analysts, and I said, I just wish America stroke Israel would just go away and give the world peace. That's it. So simple. Ali, the new Romanians are good people. I talk about Romanian blood people. For me, it's only about blood, because if I move in Japan tomorrow, after 500 years, my family will never be Japanese. Of course, people are proud of their roots. I'm very proud of my mother's roots. Italian roots. I've got all the traits of, what can I tell you? You know what I mean? I think I have anyway. Someone put a picture up of me once. I was young. No, I didn't. But someone did. I went, yeah, there's Frank. Have a look at Frank. Then I was in my 30s, and someone said he looks like an Italian 80s porn star. Hope our Francie's not listening. I'm convinced that the major global incidents are all orchestrated by intelligence agencies. Organizations like the CIA, MI5 serve the interest of the elites to help with their goal of world domination, a new world order. I always remember George Bush W coming out and saying about the new world order. Everybody has to fall in line, and this was a major speech to people. To the elite, by the way, to the deep state. He said they have to fall in order. That's what he said. No, fall in line for the new order, the new world order. That's what he said. That meant everybody around the globe. Why do you think Obama threw out? Think about this. Obama threw out Russia. You know, that was the G8, and Obama threw them out. Simply because the Russian Federation went to Crimea and said, do you want a referendum? 95% of the people said, yeah, we'll have a referendum to see if they wanted to stay in Ukraine. Because don't forget, remember the Crimean War? Remember? He was fighting the British and the Russians, and the French was helping us as well. But the Crimean War, the British fighting Russia on Russian soil. They wanted Sevastopol. The British wanted Sevastopol because it was the trade, it was a great port for the East. You know, to go right over to the Pacific and to the west coast of America. And the elder referendum, I forget what majority or what, but it was a vast majority to say, yeah, we want to be in the Russian Federation. So they brought them into it. They said, right, he's a Russian now. Welcome to the Russian Federation. Because they're all Russian-speaking people. So Obama threw them out. So we can't be doing that. It wasn't a bloody coup like they do. But as I said before about the Maidan, they brought in all these actors. And I mean actors, I don't mean fucking actors off the stage or anything. To demonstrate, They brought them in. Now that they're back in Serbia, they're back in Georgia. Now they're all brought in. They're all paid for. You get thousands. I couldn't think of a woman, and her name was Powell, Susan Powell. And she was there a couple of years ago. She was like, yeah, you know, these people really want democracy. You know, this is in Georgia. She's an American, by the way. But she's gone now. So there's a new one now. Have you noticed it's all women? I mentioned Hillary Clinton. We came, we saw, he's dead. Warmonger. Victoria Nuland, warmonger. Now the MI6 is the head. A granddad. Remember when I just said about, you know, I love my Italian lineage? Very proud of it. And a granddad was known as the butcher of Ukraine. Think. And she's fucking leader of MI6. She's in. Look at Kaya Kallas is there. Come back at Nazi background. On the Lion, the same. Fucking same. The same. Bink. But you don't get in trouble, you know. But it's only giving you facts, you know. Only facts. You're right there, do you know? Gary Rigby. Even Frank, I'm a bit late. Yes, you are. Gonna go down and read them all here, boys. I said later, never, Gary. Yep. Harvey was just resting on his laurel. At least the jokes. Jimmy Joe once said about Hillary, that warmongering bee has tried to start 10 of 5 wars we're fighting now. I haven't heard of a war she hasn't liked. Says you. Steve Mulholland, who was on, you know, when I just mentioned them before, he went to see Jimmy Joe. Jimmy Joe, my daughter actually appears there herself. She took gigs along there. And she knows not what I do, you know, about Jimmy Joe or anything. And Steve said, I went to see Jimmy Joe last night. Now, the point is, I always watch Jimmy Joe, and he's always got the fucking thing up, you know, I'll be appearing there. And he said, Manchester, Liverpool, Manchester. I couldn't believe it. He fucking appeared. I was about to get a trolley from Sainsbury's. Brought myself down there on the trolley. It's only 600 yards away from me. Sick I am. Missed him. Great Jimmy. Stands no messing. Got Irish blood, that man. Irish blood. Ollie the Noose. American press keep attacking China until China Minister of Defense came out and said that China is not planning to attack Taiwan. It's just a USA manipulation. Of course it is. China have only defense weapons. But they've got the best defense weapons. They've got weapons. They've got this hypersonic missile. So that's me what it's called. And it can penetrate any, especially, it was saying, it was looking at some stream, and it said if any like big fucking battleship or aircraft carrier went into the South China Seas and started coming, one of those would just hit it and go right through it and sink it. One of them. Sink the fucking lot of them. Fucking nice fucking weapons. Zelensky is a billionaire. Make that make sense. Exactly, that bad. Exactly. What's wrong with homosexuals? My best mate's one. No, I think what he means, I think what Dino meant. What he meant was, you know, there he is, he's married. I tell you who it's like Rock Hudson. It's like Elton John. When, you know, they married people. They never consummated the marriage. Elton John went to bed that night with his boyfriend. You know, that's different. It's different, like today, where, you know, homosexuals. I'm not fucking getting into that either, Michael. Fuck that. You know what I mean? I'm not getting into that, mate. More important fucking things to do and try to defend. And as the Redbird says, Michael, there's nothing wrong with honest homosexuals. It's those who pretend they are not to the public, which gets most people against, which most people are against. Yeah, like me. Like me. But I don't want to get into that fucking sort of argument. I was at university, and there was this big lad, and I didn't know whether he was a girl or a fella. And I walked down this corridor, and I seen, I always, this other fella, you know, I knew he was a bit of a bully, you know what I mean? Never fucking bothered me, like. But I knew he was a bit of a bully. And as I walked around the corner, there's this fella. He's got this big tall lad up. He's going, fuck off. I just went, I said, what are you fucking doing? And anyway, you know, he said, I don't like him. And I said, I don't fucking like you if I fucking see you near him again. I went, all right, I'll fuck off. Sorry to swear. So anyway, what has happened? That big tall fella, in fact, he was gay, and he was a fella. As I said, I couldn't tell the difference whether he wasn't transgender and all. I'm going back fucking years ago. But he was on my coattails all the time. He's a lovely fella. And when I heard from him, you know, he knew where he lived. He had my address and whatever, phone number. And he said, I'm going away. I'm going away with my boyfriend. I said, great. This is years later, by the way. And he went down to Brighton. And they got married, and he sent me an invitation. I said, will you come? I said, I can't. I said, I'm working. I said, there's no way I can go. But good luck. I've got nothing against them. Fuck all against them. But it's the pretense, like Cock Hudson. Elton John. There's been loads of them in Hollywood. Loads of them. So I've got nothing against anyone. And Barry says, yes, you're probably right, IBR, and naively, I just wish everyone could live in peace. Yes. Barry says, they should have replaced Trent's moral, but one of you, Frank. I jest. I wonder if it will go that moral. I haven't a clue. Should do, really. Ali Denous says the Redbirds. I totally agree, but in the UK, that gets citizenship is classed as British, and we're classed as racist if we disagree. Well, remember Redbirds when I said that there's all labels on us. No matter what, how you look, there's a label. You could be Islamophobic, you could be homophobic, you could be racist, you could be anti-Semite. There's everything. Even if you disagree with transgender. I always remember when I was married, back years ago, and I went down the Lisbon, down there, Victoria Street. And I'm going back fucking years ago, by the way. And I went, I'm going for a pee. Okay, went in. And this person walked in with a dress. And I went, I was in the urinal. I'm going to fucking pee. And they had this silver grey suit on. Silver grey, 3-piece suit. And this fella, well, it was a fucking fella, lifted the dress up. And I thought, and he just peed. And I went fucking shocked. And I went all over me, fucking silver grey suit. Have you ever had pee on a fucking silver grey suit? My legs. That's what I disagree with. And, I've got a lovely granddaughter there, a beautiful little girl. She's 13 now. I don't want any fucking fellas going into their toilets. That's what they are. You've got the Olympic Games, biological men fighting women. Do you want to see that? I fucking don't. Now, I'll be called homophobic, and I'm not. As I said about that lad. Yeah, fellas used to come out with us who were gay. They're all right. We're fucking all right. I'll eat to the I don't believe in racism or fascism. I only believe in people who speak their minds and sheeps who follow the pack. My personal opinion, people are free to like what they think. But shout that. Barry says that, did you mate? And we all like a little bit of humour, so why are you saying sorry? There's no need. Yeah, don't say sorry. The Ragged Trouser Philanthropist is a book once read, never forgotten. And he's buried here, Did you know that? He's buried here. Michael. Reasons, yeah. Frank, I think the British government and the media have been gradually compromised by a foreign power stroke military industrial complex. Yes, of course. Because, see, what Europe and Brussels especially, they're drumming up the escalation. And this is where I think Russia should just say, enough's fucking enough now. We're going in. That's it. That's the fucking end of it. Especially with what Germany's done. But if it is, not the Storm Shadows, but the German equivalent. See what I mean? Toscana to the Redbird. Even though I was born in the UK, I've never felt British. Don't want to sound offensive, but having both parents who were Italian, 100% Italian ancestors, I've only ever felt Italian. 50% me. Toscana. See, I look at my uncles and aunties and, my mother's name alone, Angelina Maria Yolanda Holland. And her sister's names are Maria Gracci, Rosaline. So you see, they're my aunties. They're all gone now. It's how you are. You've got to be proud of your roots. We're all migrants. We're all migrants. If they had all repatriation, back to where can I go? Can I go to the Amalfi Coast where it's all flat and no hills? But this is the way it is. This is the way the world is. And it's shocking. And it's sad. It's sad. Look what Elon Musk came out with this Doge thing and said, I want to save money. We give him money left, right and centre. He stopped that USAID. He stopped that. Trump was made up. Then he wanted to stop all these other monies going out to places. And one of them was the military complex industry. And that's where he had a big falling out. And Elon Musk said, listen, he said, you're getting a seal and it's trillion. The amount of money that America's in there in debt, what is it you fucking pay it to Patsy? But it's the industrial complex, the military industrial complex, that's making all the money. And they're bribing congressmen. They're bribing them. Money, keep it going, keep that in Congress, There's a few good senators, the likes of that Rand Paul, who's good. But now you've got Trump, and he sacked Elon Musk. And he's come out today, hasn't he, and said, Trump had it. But, Elon Musk had to go with him. He said, I want all the senators who voted, against this rise and, the rise, to come with me. He said, and I'll make it another party. And he's got the money to do it. And Trump knows this. So fucking Trump's been on a social forum saying, we'll stop everything. We'll stop Tesla. We'll stop We'll stop the you know, the space thing, and also the satellites, SpaceX. We'll stop all that. If he fucking did, what will they? They've got no fucking intelligence. They rely on Elon Musk. That's what kind of a fucking man Trump is. He flip-flops. He hasn't a fucking clue what's going on. Honestly. But I think people are being at him. I really think, you know, because there's been two attempts on his life. There's been two attempts on his life, and I think they've turned it around. I'm just saying this, you know, I could be wrong. If you fucking keep carrying on, you won't miss next time. Think about it. Because he's totally gone against what he's fucking saying. He only wants the Peace Prize. And did you hear him last week saying, I brought peace to Iran and Israel. I want the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize. This is what it's all about, because someone put him forward. And then again, he's just come out, hasn't he, and said, Netanyahu's a war hero. I've never heard that. You might as well say fucking hell there was. A war hero for the Germans. He wanted to get rid of all the opposition. He just wanted an Aryan race. Think about it. And as you know, they are neo-Nazis. All over the fucking place. Got one in MI6 now. There they are. There they are. Oh, proudly. I'm walking on VE Day. I wonder if they'll walk on in August next month, VJ Day. We were fucking fighting those. They were Nazis. And I'll tell you about the Soviet Union because I promised you, didn't I? You know that Carlyle, Estonia, Latvia, all around the fucking little Balkan states. And remember Austria, because the Soviets went into Austria as well. Because what you had, all those little, and people tend, I don't know whether they've read history books or whatever, I just don't know, I haven't a clue what you have read. But most of those Baltic states were full of Nazis. Decided with the Germans to go against Russia. Every one of them. Kaya Kallas's fucking granddad. Big Nazi fighting the Russians. Kaya Kallas. That's why she hates Russia. And von der Leyen's family, they owns a newspaper spreading all the propaganda for the Nazis. Big swastika. Have a read of this, boys. And now we have the MI6 and her granddad known as the butcher of Ukraine. Mass murdering. And she's head of the MI6. Say no one says anything against women. Just imagine if it was been a fella. That's how sad it's become. But I just want to see what's going to happen over these missiles. This is frightening. Because as Putin said, if anyone, like Storm Shadow, he said to Starmer, and it was Scholz at the time, when he was president of Germany, Chancellor, when he was Chancellor of Germany, he said, if any of your fucking missiles hit Russian Federation cities, He says, you are complicit in this, and we'll act accordingly. So you see, but now it's Mates, and Mates he's worse than Schultz. He's worse, he's far worse than Schultz. He comes out and says it, fucking hate Russia. Kaya Kallas fucking hate them Russians. And this is why I think, I think Putin should just say, okay, gloves off, fuck this, I've had enough of this, let's go in there, let's sort them once and for all. Because Ukraine's got no men. They really haven't. You can see them dragging them off the streets. If anyone hasn't seen that, well, you'll have to start fucking searching, dragging them off. And I'm talking about old men as well. I'll be fucking dragged off the streets as bad as he am. They got this prisoner of war, this Ukrainian, and he was dragged off the street, and he was in bad health. He said, I told him I'm in bad health. He was dragged off the streets because I think he was in his 50s or something. He said, I'm in bad health. They examined him, and he was. The Dean says, because Michael Lloyd, they are presenting a false reality, deliberating, deceiving the people. There's always one. Come on, don't say that, Tino, please. Please don't say that. We're all friends on here. More people are starting to push back against Israel, but also the mainstream media is no longer able to promote the mass formation psychosis to herd us in the direction they want. Says IBL. Thing is, we're seeing it with our own eyes. We're seeing what's going on. We're just seeing it. But it still hasn't stopped. No one's fucking stopped it. I haven't heard Starmer coming out and saying it. I haven't heard Macron come out and say it. I haven't heard any of them come out and saying this has to stop. Because they're terrified of fucking Russia. Not Russia, I'm sorry. America. They're terrified of it. Nowadays, a fascist man is the one who loves his country. Doesn't matter what colour you are. If you are a good person, people will like you. I've always said that. Scottish Bear. Good evening. Good evening, Bear. How are you, friend? Glad you're well. Glad you're with us, mate. Hope you're well. Good evening, Frank. I hope you're well tonight. I've been getting excited. It wasn't about Kirkhead signing either. Dewey, whatever his fucking name is. What kind of chap will they have for him? The Bear, like and subscribe for Frank, guys. Thank you. I only need 10 for the 1K. 10. 10. Might have a few less for a look. Trump and Musk are both made from the same cloth, Frank. Musk is all about self-interest along with Trump. All billionaires are the same thing. Thing is, with Elon Musk, I don't know whether you know, he has very strong Liverpool roots. I mean, very strong. Anyway, getting away from that, he was wanting to save the ordinary Americans' money, and they knew that. The Americans were made up with it. But the military complex went, you better fucking stop this fella. Now he's threatening with deportation. Get back to South Africa. That's what kind of is that a bully or what? Trump is a big bully. The Americans are big bullies. They think they're far more superior than us. I used to subscribe to a fella named Jackson Hinkle. And I've mentioned this before. I was looking at his stream, and it was about Russia. He's all behind Russia, and like I am, all made up listening to it. And all of a sudden, he just, out of the blue, he went, England, he just said, England, he said, it's just there in the middle of an ocean. A little land, nothing there for me. Because they're a nation of inbreds. I couldn't believe it. So I unsubscribed to it. That's what fucking Americans think. Some of them. I remember taking these Americans around, and all as I was getting off this fucking fella. Do you ever remember Fawlty Towers when you seen that big fella asking for a Waldorf salad? This fella was fucking like him. Come on, I'll be in there. Hey. Saying everything's fucking what they are bigger. I'm shocked. I was in Florence, and I'd just been into the Santa Croce Church, and I was fucking old in these. It was incredible. Dante, Michelangelo, Da Vinci, they were all there. Machiavelli, they were all there. I couldn't believe it, in the tombs. And I was in total awe. Came out, and there was a big row where I was sitting. It was like down, a massive row of shops, all gold shops. And I'm sitting on the steps in this piazza, Santa Croce Church. And next to me were two elderly people, two Americans, man and wife. And I found out later, I was chatting to him, that he was the vice president, ex-vice president of one of the major banks, I forget what bank. And I went, wow. I said, what do you think of here? He said, nothing here for me. Nothing. I said, why? He said, it's old. I said, have you been in the church? And said, what for? What do I want to go in there? I said, Michelangelo's buried in there. Leonardo's buried in there. Who? What? So what? He was fucking horrible. Did they get him back? Yeah. I said, have you been over the UK? He went, rain, rain, rain. He said, obviously you're from the UK. I said, yeah. Very proud of it. From Liverpool. Very proud of my city. I said, I'm very proud of here because my mother comes from Italy. That's why I'm here. And yeah. He said, it rains. I said, did you go down to Sir William Shakespeare's country, Stratford upon Avon? What for? Don't like Shakespeare. What the hell? This is what he's like. Then he said, what you guys, fucking hate that terminology, guys, you know. What you guys lack is pickups. And I fucking had them. I said, is that what you have to pick up? He says, yeah. He said, you never get them here. Too narrow. I said, why would you be seen? And he said, what do you mean? I said, listen. I said, if you want to meet me tonight around 8 o'clock, see that place over there? I said, and I looked at his wife. You know, she was taking no fucking notice anyway. I said, over there, if you meet me, I said, you'll be all right for pickups. He said, what? He said, excuse me. I said, you know, good time girls. I said, got loads of them over there. Should have seen the fucking look, because he knew I took the piss out of him. And she got back. We got up. Well, she said, have you been arguing with someone? I went, no. She said, yeah, have you got that argument face up? That's why I'm on my own. But he understands what he said. Scottish, honestly. NASA couldn't get those 2 astronauts back for 8 months. SpaceX had to retrieve them. Thank you, Johan. Thank you. This is why Trump hasn't a fucking clue. The Redbird to Toscana, and so you should be, mate. And no, you're not being offensive. The difference is you don't disrespect our culture, unlike millions that do. Where does Liverpool City is disrespected by fucking the whole of this country? You've only got to look at the football chants. You've only got to look at, you know, some of the press. It's fucking shocking. And I've mentioned this before. I always remember the BBC. I was looking at the fucking, what is it? BBC Look Northwest. I've been on there a few times myself. So I was looking at it. I was sitting there watching this. And it said, and now we're going over to Liverpool because there's something about the Mersey. Honestly, something about the fucking Mersey. And where he was, this fella, nowhere near the Mersey. Do you know by Nelson Street? There was like 50s houses, you know, tenements. And they were being pulled down. They were being, you know, by the Chinese arch there. And they were being pulled down. And there was big holes in the roof, massive holes, smashed windows. He's fucking doing his thing there. I was about to fucking Mersey. See how biased they are. And when the riots, every time the riots get mentioned back in 81, what's the first name that comes out? The Toxteth riots. Nothing about fucking Bristol or Oxford or any of them places, is it? It's Toxteth riots. The race riots, and it fucking wasn't race riots. It's been going on for years. That's why you have a banner. Scouse, not English. Bear, I hope you're good, bro. I've seen you on a few chats, but most I don't join in chat. says the red bird. Oh, yeah, see? I'm Zoom on next week. If we are going to talk about conspiracy, talk about the real owners. No puppet presidents and politicians. It's the global elites. They glue. All these leaders control the global establishment course. What do you think John Henry is? And you're getting people going, well, you need one oil money. You know, I'm not being funny. I'm not getting at our Reds or anything, fans. But they just haven't a fucking clue. I'm sorry. You've got to look at our owners. You've got to look at the sponsors. Standard Chartered. You might go, oh, didn't know that. I fucking know you did. Oil money. Fucking down. I went to Munich on holiday last year, and on the big town hall, they were flying the Ukrainian flag. Yep, freedom journey. Yep. And there's a girl who's buried in Berlin. They've got a big monument to her. And her name is Sophie Scholl, the White Rose. She was guillotined fighting fascism, the Nazis. And they're flying a fucking flag for this fucking lot. And those who resist British or American imperialism are labelled terrorists, but the true terrorists are the ones invading those countries. If Britain never invaded Ireland, there would be no IRA. Precisely. That's why they call themselves the Irish Republican Army. It always has been. Republican. They didn't want a fucking British army there. You were fighting them. It's just like Trump today saying he's a mediator for peace. He's in the fucking. They started the war in Ukraine by the coup d'etat in 2014 in Kiev. And he's saying, I want to be a mediator. I'm the chief mediator. What? It's a farce. It's a farce. Most people don't know the truth about Ukraine. Ukraine are not innocent. They are full of Nazis and massive money laundering country. There you go. Think you read that? Full of those. And they marched. And the king, our king, as I said, when they give gongs out and whatever, I was offered one for my contribution. Believe it or not for this. I call in jail for this. And I said, no. It's the establishment. Could you imagine being under the banner of Scousing or English with a nice little gong there, like that? You can't make these things up, can you? I'm going to make a new account and subscribe on that for you to get 10 unique. I'll go away. Thanks, Ed Bird. And as our lovely Toscana would say, and Bella Italia, mille grazie. Mille grazie. And the most corrupt country in Europe, massive money laundering and weapons and drug smuggling. Do you know what else is fucking done as well? Children. Did you know that? Trafficking children. And that never gets mentioned. Organs as well. Organ trafficking. Nothing ever gets mentioned. Do you know when this will come out in about 20 years' time? No, they were nasty, those people, you know. I told you about that fella, didn't I? This one of us. His mother brought in a couple of, a woman, Ukrainian, and 3 kids or something like that. She said, "I'll come in, Lord, when they're asking you to put them up. And you got a bit of expenses, I don't know how much." And she walked in and she said, "Hey, this will be your room. This will be the children's room." And she said, "And this is my room." And the woman just walked past her, opened the room. She said, "That one you're giving me is too small. I want that room. That room, what you're giving me, should consider the children. And you can sleep in that room where the children are supposed." And the son came around a few weeks later. I don't know. And she was upset. She was telling. She told him. He fucking threw them out. Would you? You heard them saying as well, didn't you? They didn't like it. They didn't want to go. And they were saying it again in France as well. "We don't like it here. We should be getting more of you." They're saying it in Sweden. Fucking terrible, cheeky pricks. Michael says, "You run a good show, Frank, where people are able to feel free to say what they think. I like it, and it's all good. Thank you." My lovely Myra, thumbs up for you. The bear. Trump has become bitter against this island. The Scottish disowns him and discredited his mother's name. Is lying about his Aberdeen business. He can't handle the Scottish people not liking him. There, you're right there. He owns a golf course, doesn't he? He wanted to do something, didn't he? And they told him to fuck off. No, you can't do that, mate. I think he wanted to. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was an ancient wall, and he wanted it to pull down and build a fucking big, massive wall to hide whatever he owns there. But I know he wanted to knock down an ancient wall. Because of his Trump Scottish heritage. Yeah, I know his mother or something was, or grandmother. I don't know. Toscana. Red Bears, I was brought up to respect the British culture, and my parents were grateful that as they came over with work contracts, respect where you live or leave. That's what I was taught. Yeah. My family were on the way to America. I could have been one of those Americans going, hey, ours is bigger than you. We've got bigger buildings than you. With a far superior race than you. And don't forget Bologna at the very first university in the world and became second. With the second university in the world. Not Liverpool, like. Be proud of your roots, everyone. They're like the Scottish bear. Be proud of your roots. Be proud. Michael, you're spot on with that, bro, says the red bear. If you want a place to feel free to speak your mind, Frank's is the place to be, whether that be Facebook, history, and truth and conspiracy. I'm doing one, aren't I? Do you want to see what I'm doing? For all you people who don't know what I'm doing on Friday, I'm going to do this. I hope I've got it here, Andy. I've got it, Andy. Oh, I haven't fucking got it. Yeah, let's see. I'm doing this. And before I show you it, remember, after the JFK assassination, this fella came out and said, that's only a theory, that's a conspiracy, that was only a theory. You know, when people started to question, was the CIA involved and the FBI in his assassination? So they had to quell it, they had to nip it in the bud. And this American came out, I don't know whether he was FBI or CIA, and said, that's only a conspiracy. That theory is only a conspiracy. And that was it. Conspiracy theories were born. But when you break back the layers and goes on, right away, like that, and getting the propaganda out the way, getting the misinformation, disinformation, the lies, everything, and you come boom to the truth. And this is what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen. On Friday, 7 o'clock. So there you have it. That's what I'm doing on Friday. And Michael said, it's a great show. People need to vent. It's all good. When I say, about the comments, they're brilliant. I say it on my history show. I say it on everything. Great comments. Educated comments. Toscana, respect to your parents and you, bro, says the big red bear. Absolutely. Franco, I've had many arguments on social media defending the city of Liverpool. Even got called a Scouse B. Scouse bastard, she was called. Got banned a few times defending your great city. Wow. Do you remember when I said about meeting two Romanians? There he is. David Alina, it was a pleasure meeting you today in Sainsbury's. That's it. And his lovely wife. It was great meeting them. And they were quite surprised because I knew about George Eskew and Simeone. They're just quite surprised. They said, you know, I said, yeah. Because you haven't ever mentioned about Ceausescu. But what I want you to do, David, I follow a Romanian on social, it's not social, well, it's on YouTube. And his name is, he's Romanian and he's brilliant. His name is Emil Coleman. Emil Coleman. And he's Romanian. And he's got the same ideology as me. I know everyone on here. But it was great to see you and your lovely wife today. Really was. Made up. Do me a favour, subscribe to the channel. Like and subscribe. It'd be fantastic if you did that. Isn't that great? I said you'd be able to comment. I've just been I hope you've been listening because I've been talking about George Eskew and Simeone and the corruption within Brussels, cancelling the elections. I urge everyone to look up Glasgow Celtic and Palestine, says the Scottish Bear. The support Celtic gives Palestine is incredible. Every home game, Palestine, flags everywhere. Look it up here. Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them. And have you seen them, the Twitter thing, you know, X? Fucking loving. Rod Stewart. Fucking loving him. Well, I put up a post today. I said, you're all delighted that this fella wants, you know, looking at reform and whatever. I said, he's a multi-millionaire. This was my comment. He's a multi-millionaire. And he's telling you. And I said, the fucking fella lives in America, for God's sake. And I said, you know, finished on that, the exclamation marks. Then I went, oh, comment. And ask the Celtic fans what they think of Rod. That's what I said, Bear. That's what I said. The big banner. Fuck off, Rod. And you never walk alone as well. You'll never walk alone. No other club is doing this with Palestine. We got banned from it. We couldn't do it. We get locked up. It's terrible when you see comments. You see someone, there was this fellow with a flag. Oh, his fucking comments that was coming out against him was shocking. The Palestinian flag. Get that foreign flag off it. What? They're all complicit in what they're seeing with their own eyes. They're all seeing it with their own eyes, what's going on in Gaza. Every time I fucking think about it, it sickens me. Trump is an arms dealer, and that's exactly what he's doing with NATO. All the weapons will be bought from America. Trump, the salesman. Yeah, of course. He said to Zelensky, didn't he? You owe us money, but we'll lend you some more money to buy the arms. He's a real estate. Do you ever remember that Witkoff? He got fucking chased, didn't he? Because he was, when he went to see Putin on a number of occasions, he came back and said, listen, this man's fucking good, you know. And he's right. Witkoff soon went, didn't he? And he brought in that Kellogg. He fucking snack crackles and pop him. Callum. Have you been Callum? Oh, Callum. Bob Vyland. Well, he's been banned, hasn't he, now? But what he shouldn't have said, you've got to be careful what you say. He should never have said debt to the idea. He shouldn't have said that. I disagreed with that. I don't like any debt. This is why we're here. We shouldn't have said that. That's playing right into their hands. And as he says, big up Bob, the bear. The great American dream, you need to be asleep to believe it. The great George Carlyle. The great American dream. People, honestly, stream Philadelphia. Get fucking knocked out of here. Stream Philadelphia for yourselves. Frank, watch the late George Carlyle. He was ahead of his time. And even the Redbird says, Bear, George Carlyle was brilliant. He spoke truth with humour. I like that. The Redbird. Nice to see you, Callum. Frank says to Callum, do you think Netanyahu agrees and sticks with? No, he's getting all these in, all the arms of good old America. They just give him $500 million worth of arms. This is the ceasefire, so they can stock up. Do you ever remember Zelensky when he went like that on the 30-day ceasefire? Putin, well, fuck off. And he's saying, see that, he won't come to the table. And he's always been there. Putin went like that. This fella won't be president much longer. So if we sign something over to him, the next president could just say that was it wasn't legitimate because he wasn't a president. So I'm scrapping. Just take Putin's fucking stupid. Frank, you said Facebook, I know football. So, yes, Frank, Trump tried to tear down some Scottish heritage. We told him to fuck off. No, I never said to fuck off. I did. It was him. It was the bear. It's like this Redbird, you know what I mean? He swears and everything. He don't swear, and I have to come out and say it. His mother is Scottish. Her house still stands. He would go on about his Scottish heritage to use people for bit. Of course. Of course. My great grandmother's name, married my great granddad. Her name was Maria Gracchi D'Annunzio, and she married my great granddad, Gaetano. All that. So anyway, I was in a place called Lido di Eslo, and I was walking along as you do, looking around and running in for a beer, and I seen this hotel. It was called the D'Annunzio. And it was great because I went in and I said, have you got any relatives in Liverpool and in New York? And he went, we have them in New York, yeah. I said, well, there's the Nuncios in Liverpool. He said, well, they must be relatives then. Of the D'Annunzio thing. I went, so. I said, my great grandmother's name was Gracchi Maria D'Annunzio. Small world. The Queen with balls, I love it. And it's not Hillary Clinton either. I never heard about the English Queen to be about. That's strange, but never knew, no. After Mr. Brigitte. Going right down. To David Elena. David Elena, salute. Welcome to King Franco's channel. That's lovely. That's lovely. Callum says the Red Bird. Hamas rulers of Palestine sent rockets to Israel after agreeing a peace deal with them not that long ago. Mainstream media mainly focus on what Israel are doing. Hamas is a huge problem, hasn't it? But the thing is, I'm not supporting anyone who supports death. I don't. But if I see something going on where there's no defense, I go, I'm gonna fucking minute. It's like the SMO. It's like the people of the Donbass. After that 2014 coup d'etat in Kiev, the president, I always forget his fucking name. And here's what he said, and he said it, television, outgoing like that. He said, while the children of Kiev are sitting at school desks learning, the children of Donbass will be hiding in cellars and basements. Think about that. Anyone who mentions children, I just automatically think of my little granddaughter and your granddaughters. It's fucking terrible, Callum says, Hamas are a controlled opposition. The point is, who would the Palestinians have? Look, they just want to get rid of the fucking lot of them. They've said it. It's not me saying it. They've said it themselves. They want to get rid of it. And I'm talking about Palestinians. That's why the fucking bombing sinks. That's why when the Russian to these food things, they set up this food, come and get your food. And as they rush towards it, they just fucking get shot. It's mass murder. So who can they have to look after them and to be a voice? That's the way I look at it. Wouldn't you like someone, if that's happening? Look, can I just go, digress from that to football? When we hear the chants about us, when we hear, then about Hillsborough, we stand firm. But they've got you and I to stand firm, haven't we? If anyone goes on about the city, Tuscan, he's got fucking bands and was called a bastard and everything for defending the people of Liverpool. That's how fucking bad they are against my city, your city. But they've got us to defend. The Palestinians have got fucking no one. Think about it, no one. Who's there to defend them? Hamas. And they're defending the Lebanese. I'm not defending Hamas, by the way. I'm just saying they're there to defend them. And that's the excuse. That's the Israeli excuse when they bomb loads of kids and children. Men, women, and children who've got no arms or anything. I'm talking about guns, weapons. Well, we're after the Hamas. We thought he was there, or and we knew he was there, and we got the intel. That's That's their problem, not ours. Think about that. Free Palestine from the river to the sea. Age group are also on resistance group. There's no Gaza if it wasn't for them. Be no Gaza if it wasn't for them. Didn't Trump's son-in-law, fucking Kushner, he's bought land and he's even got, an artist impression of what his hotel's going to be like by the sea. Think about it. Right, I'm going right down, people. Toscana. Redbirds and masses a problem for those poor Palestinians. I agree with your comments. Free them from them. It'll make no fucking difference. I'm sorry, I disagree with you. It'll make no difference whatsoever. They're just fucking bombing. They're just bombing them and shooting them. All right, you see a group of... Do you ever remember that fucking horrible picture where you see a woman? I've seen it, footage. You see a woman with a child in her arms, babe, and 3 little kids, their children, and walking across it. You see a lady coming home. And as she got in the middle of the street, they were fucking mown down by gunfire. Was a mass there? Come on. Please. Make no difference. A mass. The shooting fucking... How many journalists have been killed? This is what I said the last time I did it. I'd ask Zelensky if anyone was interviewing him. What about this kill list you've got? And the names on it. Prominent names, including a 14-year-old girl. But he denied it. He said, oh, I know nothing about that. Fucking lie. Sorry to scratch. It's come about on me. There's a small genocide of Christians in Syria and it gets zero attention by the media. Says, it's this fucking Giovanni, his lads are fucking killing them. What did he call the Christians? There's loads of when he first got in, he just fucking started it again. And he was killing it. It was fucking terrible. He was executing a fucking lot of them. And then a big movement of them went. And do you know where he got to? A Russian camp. And he went in there. A Russian base. Fucking shocking. And he's doing it now, today, as we speak. There's Christians being executed, beheaded, shot in the head, whatever. And I'm talking, it's not just a fucking fella who's a Christian or a woman, children. Now, today, Giovanni, with his fucking suit and tie on. Terrorist. Ali News. Franco, did you meet the Romanian guys at the bar? You told me about it. Forgot that. No. It was it was in Sainsbury's with me trolley. I was just talking. Lovely people. Lovely. What would you do, Frank, if you were a citizen of Palestine? Just like them all, what could you do? What could you do? I'd be dead, most probably. Be dead, Michael. But if I was living in this country, I'd be fucking kicking up a fuss. More so than I do now, more so than anybody else on there to do it. But you do get them. You do get them. Kicking up a fuss. You're getting people banned and everything for saying about the Palestinians. And the red bird. Callum, I see what the Hamas do. They use their own people as shields. They're also a threat. Callum, Israel apartheid state, being apartheid state for. And let me guess, he went like that. And I said, tell you what, lads, here's what we'll do. 1947. Here's what we'll do. We'll take a piece of that land there called Palestine. We'll cut it there and give it to those poor Jews. And there was a fella named Balfour, a Scouser. Get everywhere's open. Oh boy, what's it brought today? Do you know what my grandmother said though? No, I said to my grandmother in 1973 or 4, I said, the Third World War will start in the Middle East. I said that to my grandmother. Poor Palestine people are ruled by dictators, Hamas, says the red bird. Callum, it's not one way. Maybe you should educate. Come on, lads. I'll have to educate myself though. Dewey is coming to Amford. Is that how do you pronounce his name? Hey, Dewey. Callum. Redbirds, what about all the 377k dead Palestinians from rockets from the Callum makes sense. I urge Yasser Arafat in the 1990s tried a diplomatic solution for Palestine and the Israelis tried to assassinate him too. Says Freedom Journey. Yes, Yasser Arafat. That's all he wants, a peace. Palestine. What will he be like today? As they say, you know, the old adage, spinning in this grain. Fucking hell. I'm going right down, lads. Freedom in the 90s. Yep. The guy agreed the deal with Israel, then subsequently he passed away. Days later. And you know what? What these dudes saying about him? You know, like the old propaganda come out about it. Do you know that? And he was saying he was gay. And he has a lover and everything. Fella. Fucking shock. Johan, the PLO was a peaceful political party. Israel funded Hamas so that the radical elements in society will prop up as an excuse to attack them. This could go on and on, couldn't it? The lovely Myra. Rather stand fighting than die on your knees. Yeah, that's what it'll be. But they've got no fucking weapons, Myra. No weapons. No guns. Sitting ducks. No bombs. No nothing they've got. And they're just being mowed down. This is even more disgusting than the Nazis. These animals are killing in real time. And they do selfies, don't they? I've seen them. Disgusting. And the old one to Michael, their bloodlust has exposed them. Nobody with a shred of morality sees them as human. And Callum, remember, land was promised to them 3,000 years ago. Yep. Lord Rothschild and Balfour, says you. Yep. But Rothschild wasn't a Scouser. You some of that as well. Ali Denise. Franco. What the better looking at Brigitte Macron or Michelle? You'll get it, you Big Mike. You'll get us all locked out. Listen, people, I'm going to go. It's been wonderful. It really has. There's been agreements and disagreements, and that's the way it should be. And I've just got to thank Jason for setting everything up. I've got to thank, most importantly, you people for making it possible. Really. Yusuf, where have you been? Do you like Marine Le Pen? She wants to try and put France in order, Yusuf. It's gone pear-shaped, France. It really has. But she's an ultra-right. And when I mean an ultra-right, if you've got one bad apple and then another bad apple, because the bad apple is Macron. He's an escalator. Marine Le Pen wants to come in, but she's a bad apple. And there's no alternative. There's no like Valéry's Giscard. There's no Hollande. But Hollande was a fucking prick as well. Monsieur Hollande. Take care, everyone, says lovely Myra. Thank you, Myra, for joining us tonight. Mille grazie. And on that wonderful note, thanks a lot, people. Really, you've been great tonight. And as Johan says, thank you, Frank and Legends on the chat. A great night, everyone. Great stream, Frank. Thank you. You, sir. He was the best ever Italian president. Give you the best Roman emperor. The best Roman emperor for me. I'm not saying president, sorry. I'm very disappointed at Giorgio Maloney, put it that way. I'm not even Draghi, fucking hell. I thought one of the greatest emperors, and I'm just saying this rather than a president, was Vespasian and Marcus Aurelius, outshone a lot of them. Grazie, Franco, and everyone. Great evening and discussion. Looking forward to hearing about the dodgy coin. I thought you'd gone red bed, just seeing it. I thought, well, what's happened to our red bed? Ali Denise. Okay, Chef Franchino. See you next time. Enjoy your night. Thank you. Before you go, I watched a cracking film last night. Honest. If you can stream, don't get it on fucking YouTube. It was on YouTube. I said, oh, what's this? So I streamed it. If you like John Cusack, I think he's great Cusack. Get on to The Bag Man. The Bag Man. And De Niro's in it. The Bag Man. It's a cracker. It's made, it was made a few years ago, but it's brilliant. I didn't half enjoy it. He's great. He's fucking good, that Cusack. But you want to see De Niro? That is nasty. Reasons, yeah. Good night. God bless you all. Isn't that lovely? Thank you. Callum. Au revoir, Franco. Francois. Au revoir, Franco. Au revoir, Francois. The Red Bird. Catch you next time, Frank and Chatters. Great show as always, Frank. Thank you. Thank you. Made up, was it you or the Scottish Bear? No, it was you, wasn't it? Who said I'm gonna subscribe until I get set. Thank you. Lovely. You sir, tuned in just as you're about to finish. I never yet get YouTube note. I start at 7 o'clock. You sir. I'm doing a history show on Thursday. I'm doing this one again, but it's a proper conspiracy theory, this one I'm doing on Friday. I think you'll enjoy it. 7 o'clock, don't forget. But I had to pop out to try and get MI6 to stop. And we miss our Anfield Roars, don't we? Ah, great. Nice shout out, Frank. We'll defo check out the bag. It says it's a good. You'll be made up with it, Johan. That's all it's called, that Bagman. See, when it might come up, with a couple of other Bagmans, but it's John Cusack and De Niro. You can thank me on either Thursday or Friday, or the Saturday morning TV film. Yes, it was me, says the Red Pit. And on that brilliant note, I'm going to say thank you all. These are wonderful people, really are. And I remember Steve Holland saying, why can't we all meet up in the ship of mighty? So if you're ever looking forward to it, I'll make an effort. Daryl, I'm going. I'm finished. Poor Frank hasn't had a cup of tea. I haven't had nothing. I don't eat anything before I come on the show, because I'll fall asleep. That's what I'm like. I've seen my eye closing. Can you see it? No. My eyes closing. This one. See it? I've got to get that done. Doomed I am. Hi, Frankie. Daryl. So, Daryl, I'm leaving, mate. I'm sorry. I've been on since 7 o'clock, and it's. And I'll leave you with that message. Just got to thank Jason Pennington for putting this up. I've just got to thank, most importantly, you for making the show what it was. All you wonderful people, thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you on Thursday. And most probably I'll see you on Friday with the conspiracy. Yeah, proper conspiracy. You'll be made up with it, honestly. Cheers. Thank you. Ciao. Ciao, Bella. Ci vediamo.